All right, you're welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. It's time to take a look at the headlines this morning. Of course, quite a number of papers we have to review, but we're being joined now by a public affairs analyst and a lawyer, Barrister Okenna Nebedum. Right?
Yeah, you got it.
You're
right.
welcome.
Thank
Good
you.
morning.
Thank
If I
you.
don't get it, then there's a problem. All right, it's good to have you on the
But
show.
before you go on, I'd like to
Yes.
know what the meaning of names, African names are.
Okay.
Nebedum, what does it mean?
There we
It doesn't come across like an everyday Igbo name, but it's really unique.
Yeah, it's
I
not
say.
a name.
What I
Come
say
across
is
every-
getting into extension because the trend in Igbo culture right now is to give names around chi.
Chi, oh yeah, the God thing.
God thing there, but,
Onna.
oh, nah, yeah, like the Okenna.
Okenna.
That's my name. So, Nebedu means, let me just, let me hang on. Let me just wait and
Let's
see.
wait and see.
Yes.
Like
Mm.
Kashimawu.
Yeah, cashew. Okay, that's your version.
Great.
All right, let's get on
Interesting.
to it. Otherwise, we'll, this is really interesting. But the headlines are waiting to be looked at this morning. The Punch is our first paper today. I'm committed to giving Nigeria a new minimum wage soon. That's President Buhari speaking there as tripartite panel recommended 30,000 naira. The president is saying whatever it takes, including an executive bill, to ensure that this happens as quickly as possible is going to be done.
Yeah, they will be amending the 2000 National Minimum Wage Act. And I strongly believe that into that act, the content should be built in to reflect the inflationary trends. And to see, Nigerians are just banded with the word minimum wage sometimes, not knowing that this is just the barest minimum. The entry level. The elasticity is higher.
Yes.
You know, it can get up to a
What
senator's
can
pay.
get lower?
Exactly.
But it can get lower.
It can get lower.
Yeah. So the parameters that reflect on the cost of living, such
Should be
that
factored in.
should be factored
Okay.
in.
All right. Prince Charles cancels trip to Jos over security concerns. Of course, he was advised that it won't be advisable to
Jos is not the place
visit
to go
that
They
now.
have
part of the
ambassadors
country.
here. No matter
Yeah.
what we give out to our country to comfort our people that we have won this and we have won that, they too have their ambassadors in this country.
Who see the reality.
They have their own intelligence.
They have intelligence too.
All right, and power distributors owe NBET, that's the Nigeria Bulk Electricity, company, 159 billion naira in 5 months. Okay. Southwest governors divided over bid to remove Oshomole. So it's not yet a huru for Oshomole. It looks like it's getting serious by the day. Some governors want him out by all means, while his supporters are saying, no, he's going to stay
I
there.
hope APC understands
The
how to
implications of
set their priorities right. Is it a problem with the national chairman, or is it a problem with some bad losers governors?
Who are not amenable
Who are
to
not
change,
amenable to
according
change.
to Oshomole. All right, we can't meet ASU's demands for now. Minister, Kano Assembly vows not to stop Ganduje's probe. Buhari meets APC senators over party crisis. And BRT operator to assemble buses in Lagos next year. That sounds interesting.
The other bosses are becoming Molue.
Already, so quickly.
So quickly.
So quickly.
The roads
That
are
it-
bad, and sometimes maintenance policy or maintenance culture in this country has always been
Not our strong point.
Yes. You see, sometimes retainers are contracted with mechanics or with some other people that has to, and some of them are old.
Yeah.
And some of those contracts are not tailored to performance. Some of them are tailored to political,
Well, it raises the question
The-
as to the sustainability of the BRT.
The-
You think that rail is what will solve this problem?
Yeah,
permanently.
but for now, the point there is these things graduate from level to level. Now there's a corridor for BRT lane. It never used to be. And now you have a corridor. With time, it will graduate into
corridor
a
will-
rail.
Rail.
Exactly. So that's how it is. But the point there is, it just tells you that when you were talking about them being like Moluwe, the number of buses are no longer adequate for the population
Yeah.
of the people who ply certain routes, as the case may be.
And there's no case as to whether it is viable. They make huge
Yes.
sums of money.
Exactly. They make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I wonder why they wouldn't replace buses as much as or as often as possible. But it's fine. It's okay. We have to graduate from one level to the other. Let's move to the Nation newspaper now. Workers excited as Buhari accepts 30,000 naira proposal. Executive to transmit bill to National Assembly. Okay, we've talked about that. President insists on a $1 billion Malabu oil suspects trial. Okay, that's still been going on and on. Ekweremadu's home, that's Senate President Ekweremadu's home incident, is burglary. 4 policemen held. It's quite dramatic. With the kind of security around Apo villa or residential area, that anyone can break into the home of the deputy senate president or even any senator or even House of Rep member for that matter.
When that news broke, I was heartbroken because sometimes the kind of signals we send out is not merely reporting the incident, it is the consequences of those incidents. And there's a thin line between burglary and assassination. They are armed with gun. It's just a mere pulling of the trigger. You translate from burglary to assassination.
But then is it comforting really to know that, well, according to the police, it's a case of burglary and not necessarily an assassination attempt?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
It's a thin line.
They
are just being euphemistic with those words so that you don't, they're trying to play down the words.
Yeah, but however, on the other hand, if you look at the political implication, as if you look back to the past few months, how things have been playing out, if it is not burglary, if it becomes the issue of assassination attempt, different meanings are going to be read to it.
Absolutely.
Because of the person.
Because of the person.
And the party he belongs to.
The party he belongs to and where he comes from. So all of these things.
So many.
Exactly. So being burglary changes the dynamics from that. Whatever. So ex-chief are also likely to forfeit 2.2 billion hearing on Monday. Okay. Sonny Odogu dies at 87.
Wow.
It's really sad. Really sad one.
Sabah.
Buhari pays tribute. Okay. A cleric held for stealing placenta.
We're trying to wrap our minds around why anyone would want to steal a placenta. But then again, obviously, maybe it's a reflection of some of those beliefs that we've come to imbibe in this part of the world, maybe to help his...
the ministry to move forward or something.
If it is for the ministry to move forward, which ministry right now?
Which ministry?
It's an indictment on the God he professes against the God he is going to make sacrifices of those placentas to.
Exactly. We'll see it that way. All right. Prince Charles meets with traditional rulers in Abuja. Well, the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall have been in Nigeria since yesterday. It's been the royal visit.
Yeah.
It's an
and
interesting
he's been
one.
meeting with Nigerian royalty too.
Yes, exactly. It's really... he'll be in Lagos later today.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And he wouldn't be in Ife.
Yeah, he wouldn't be in Ife.
You would like him to visit Ife, wouldn't you?
We mentioned some
As a
royal
cradle
fathers
of-
too. Yeah, as the cradle of Yoruba heritage.
Yes.
Well, but the Ooni of Ife was one of those who
Okay,
met with him
received.
in
Yeah.
Abuja. So certainly he won't be visiting their homes anymore since they are there with him.
Okay, to the Daily Sun now. Assassination attempt on Ekweremadu under probe. Senate wades in as Dogara condemns incident. It's burglary, say police, as they detain suspect. The headline here is 2019 polls under threat, says INEC. Yes.
Again, they've done the environment. What else?
Well, they're not saying it has to do with the issue of funding. They're saying that, some of the upheavals that have occurred in the course of the primaries, and the way politicians have been conducting themselves
Let them
so
move
far.
forward. Let them move forward. They are regulators. And do I call them now the class masters? You make do with what they submit to you. In a situation where there are no submissions, in a situation where litigation crosses the deadlines, you move ahead. By the time you get your house in order, you come join the queue. But INEC shouldn't be waiting for...
Shouldn't be slowed down.
Slow down for anything.
That's part of why the decision they took about Zamfara State.
Zamfara State is wonderful.
And it's okay.
All right, we won't stop Ganduje's bribery probe, Kano Assembly. Of course, court actually, ordered that the investigation should not continue, but they're saying they will continue. After all, the Constitution does not stop a sitting governor from being investigated.
Not at all, not at all. The Constitution doesn't immune them against investigation. But I sense a danger here. A country can move forward without a good leadership, as in the executive or the legislature. But the country cannot move forward without a good judiciary. That is the last hope of the common man. When the judiciary changes or there are signals that it is no longer the hope of the common man, it sends a bad signal, not only to the inhabitants in that country, but to foreign investors. If I invest in your country,
how do I get justice when things go wrong?
Things go wrong.
Yeah.
But again, this draws attention to statements by the president sometime when he was saying that the judiciary doesn't seem to be helping,
Yeah, that the judiciary, as a
when it
matter of
comes
fact,
to the
is
issue
his
of
biggest
corruption.
problem in
Now
the
the point
fight
is,
against
there
corruption.
are allegations against the governor. The other arm of government, the legislative arm of government, has the constitutional responsibility to check the other arm of government, for balances, as the case may be.
Sure.
And then the third arm of government is preventing one from doing his
That is why
constitutional
I'm pained. That the National Judicial Council has its own modus operandi in sanctioning errant or some political judges in court. And recently, we have some of them who were, sent out of the judiciary, and they wield the big stick whenever the need arises. I wouldn't know. I've not read the judgment, but I wouldn't know why. This government, this regime has been characterized with not obeying court orders.
Yeah.
But how swiftly they ran to the court and obtained that injunction. Is worrisome. There are always three parties to a litigation: the panel or the adjudicators, and then the accuser and the defense. The journalist has appeared, and he came with video evidence and other facts that are made public. How come the person in the eye of the storm had to send aids? One would have expected that he comes along to defend himself.
The State Assembly is saying there's no court order stating that this committee should stop its work. That's according to them. All right, candidates list. Ogun PDP urges INEC to ignore secondus. Oh, okay. Governor Dixon buries mother December 8. All right, that should put closure then to the passing of a great mother. Of course, a lot of people have not missed the opportunity to, visit with Dixon to, commiserate with him. All right, new minimum wage. President forwards 30,000 naira bill to National Assembly. That's it for the Daily Sun.
All right. The last paper, not the last paper, the next paper this morning is the Vanguard newspaper, and how 30,000 new minimum wage sailed through. Just breaking down, giving details, and he has some writers there. Buhari promises to close gap between 30,000 and 24,000 proposals. Well, he's adopted 30,000. So it says the federal government organized labor's arguments on wage is valid. Adds he's committed to new minimum wage law, and tripartite committee produces draft law on new wage. We've talked about that. And Buhari's claim on rice revolution is false. Atiku is saying this, and Atiku goofed. U.S. report on rice import is fake. Federal government is saying this. So it's a back and forth thing. But when it comes to times like this, the timing sometimes matter too. Some of these arguments sometimes, politics and so on. So in the the Nigerians will just sit down. Who do we believe?
Yeah, but what the U.S. agricultural body is saying is all the alleged, is it alleged now, claims of, rice revolution in Nigeria, and all of that, we should not, Nigerians should take it with not just a pinch of salt, maybe a bag of salt.
With some level of cynicism.
But what the government is saying is, look, the figures show from places like Thailand, for example, that just go to such countries, you'll find that they're not making as much money as they used to from exporting, rice to countries like Nigeria.
Yes, on a private level in our practice in our office, we consult for one of the anchor borrowers program by the CBN. And I know the enormous investment they have made in
that
the
area.
rice revolution. But at the same time, whether it has translated into the level of the analysis done here is left to be seen. We have a season ahead of us. The Christmas season comes with a lot of influx of rice. And the National Bureau of Statistics and the people who know how to do their statistics know how to get into the market and then make the survey.
Because what government is saying, from about 600,000 metric tons a year, we've gone down to below 6,000.
Below 6,000.
Which is, well...
But the statistics
And
are
there are
good. The
30
figures,
million,
But
the figures are
is
good.
the rice
30 million rice
available?
farmers in Nigeria.
That is what we're
Is it
saying.
affordable?
Is it available?
But-
is
but-
it affordable?
When you get to the markets, the rice you see on the counter and in the shops are still the rice that are imported. And the price is still up there. So what is making the difference now? These are the questions Nigerians are asking.
And
so
for,
if you've made that
for some
progress...
Nigerians who have shifted from foreign rice to or further rice, for example, or Abakaliki and all of that, they still tell you that Abakaliki rice or further, the local rice, still very, very expensive, almost totally unaffordable.
Well, it is the cost of farm inputs
and transportation to the market.
And the even cost of being a farmer. A farmer's life in Nigeria
So are
is
we
more
saying then, is the
endangered.
federal government saying it has overcome all of those challenges that you just talked about now? In
To
a
have
way that
recorded-
to
those
have
challenges
recorded this kind
are
of
still with
success,
us. In Delta State now, farmers and women are raped, and there are allegations that the land belongs, So, all those are challenges.
Yeah.
So if farmers didn't go to farm right from Benue State and all those crises this year, it will reflect on
in the next season.
in the next season. The
Because,
outputs.
for instance, like lake rice, for instance, where to see it, before it gets to where you can see it and buy, the government has, some level of a little subsidy to keep
and
the price.
Of course,
to
lake
keep
rice,
the
for
price,
those who don't know, is between Lagos
and
Kebbi.
Kebbi State. To keep the price at 12,000 naira for a bag, for instance.
A 50 kg bag.
50 kg bag, for instance. Government has done some one or two things by, augmenting some
But if you
amount
go
of,
out there
the
and you
cost.
ask Nigerians or Lagosians, for example, or Kebbi, when was the last time you saw lake rice? If
Good.
you've ever even seen any.
I was going to say that sometimes at the back end of their marketing strategy, they get off-takers to buy up the rice in bulk. And then the distribution chain doesn't make it easy for you to see it. And I've never seen lake rice on the shelf of any market.
We still have a long way to go. Stop lamenting, face governance. Fire she tells, fire me. Okay. How my family and I escaped assassination. Senate President is Senator Ike Kweramadri is saying that. ASU strike paralyzes UI, Lautech, Unilag, LASU, others. We'll be talking about that much later on. Benin Monarch urges Prince Charles to ensure return of stolen artifacts. Okay.
The Benin Kingdom has never lost its cries for those requests.
Exactly.
Any visit from Europe, they'll make their message very clear.
Yeah, well, the message is clear, but is the message been taken? How much?
I guess the consistency will one day make a difference.
All right, to the Daily Trust, that's our last paper this morning. Buhari, I am committed to new minimum wage as panel recommends 30,000 to president. What else do we have here? National Assembly gets 2019-2021 expenditure framework, that's the MTEF. Okay, that really should help fast track the budget cycle for 2019 for the next year to 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
It's very good. There are offices and there are departments of government that handle budgetary and budgeting in this country. But by the time it gets to the National Assembly, you begin to wonder whether actually work was done in the first place. But the medium-term expenditure framework is good for them to keep it in perspective as a benchmark for, this is 3 years term, and then divide it into the next budgeting year, 2020.
Okay, no dollar sold for rice import, and that's according to the CBN. All right, guess what? APC loses 4 reps to PDP, AP, ADC, and LP.
I was
Okay.
thinking the transfer season is over.
Oh, it's still very much open, obviously, with this
with this latest
with this
development.
latest development
It
now.
tells us still
Of course,
open.
a lot of people have been expecting that this is, what is likely to happen with the, aggrieved members of the APC. Of course, it looks like the president's attempt to step in
And
to
reconcile.
assuage and reconcile. Hopefully, it can, stop this from happening. He's been begging them, please don't leave, but some insist on living. Okay, we'll have to leave it there.
All right. Okay, Nan Bedum, we thank you for spending your time with us right now, but we'll be keeping you for the next discussion. So,